Hello, welcome back to another video. Two things to inform you of at the start of this video. One, I got a haircut. I cut off lots of hair. I mean, my hairdresser cut off lots of my hair. It was getting very matted, it was getting very knotted. This felt needed and it feels freeing because the second thing is it's very, very, very hot right now. So this is a warning that I may suddenly metamorphosize into a puddle. It's very hot and I'm trying to keep my fan off because I feel like the noise is going to pick up on the microphone and be annoying, so we're going to see how it goes, but the shorter hair is helping in the heat for sure. Anyway, hi, welcome to a new video. Today we are going to be talking through some of the best books that I have been reading recently. I'm trying to film this kind of video like every quarter or so just to let you know the books I've been enjoying. I've not been doing monthly wrap-ups, so this is kind of replacing the idea of doing that. So this is in a completely random order that I stacked them in to take the thumbnail photo. Let's dive into the books that I have been enjoying recently. The first book is The Compound by Aisling Rowell. I listened to this one as an audiobook on BookBeat. There is a link down below if you would like to try BookBeat out for yourself. You can get 60 days free using the link in my description. I love BookBeat. It's really good. It's where I go to find a lot of new audiobooks that I want to listen to. What I like about it as well is that I don't necessarily know what audiobook I want to read next. So this kind of just gives me more options to just scroll through, get some inspiration, which is how I discovered The Compound. This is not the kind of thing I would usually lean towards, but I'd heard so many good things and the tagline, like, I can't even remember what the tagline for it was, but whatever it was, it drew me in. But it's kind of like Love Island-esque with a real intensity and a bit of a dark side to it. I've never once watched an episode of Love Island, so I didn't really know what to expect going into this, but it's basically following a group of people who are put in this house in the middle of a desert, and they kind of have to couple up each night, otherwise they get eliminated, and you've got to try and stay there the longest, and you get like all these sponsorships and all these things thrown at you. But I feel like I get the impression there's kind of some kind of darker world outside of this compound and some worse like semi-dystopian stuff happening, because there's always this like dark ominous tone surrounding anything like that. This was highly addictive. I think I listened to this in about 2 days. Really, really good audiobook. Highly recommend it. Just throwing yourself into it without really knowing very much about it I think is a good idea, because it leaves you still with a lot of questions, and I liked it a lot. I'm so hot. Okay, next we have Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. I read this very recently in a reading vlog that I will leave linked above if you want to see my reading experience for this. This is a teeny little horror that starts off very wholesome and then quickly becomes not wholesome at all. It's following two characters who meet at a market. They fall for each other, or more, one of them falls a lot harder than the other, and this is the intensity of that relationship that might have a bit more to it. I really liked seeing the weirdness of the character dynamics here. You have Ash, who owns the store, and she has this really lovely, like, wholesome stock of plants, of soaps, of cupcakes, and then you have Rosemary, who is quite new to town and is trying to just have a little explore, really. She's having a little explore, and she meets Ash, and then the intense stuff begins. But the whole time I was so intrigued because I didn't know what the horror element would be, and I was just very interested to see where it would go, and then it went there. And it was so strange. It was really intriguing, really interesting book to read. Really liked the writing style. It felt very entrancing. It felt like it really pulled me in. And also the first paragraph of the book is so good. It's so good. Like, really strong first paragraph. So yeah, this was fantastic and bizarre. Okay, I am gonna have to put the fan on. It's too hot. So if you hear the fan noise in the background, apologies, it's behind me there. That's better. Next up is M.L. Rio's Hot Wax. I was so excited to receive an arc of this from the publishers. So thank you so much to the publishers for sending this through. I absolutely love If We're Villains. It's one of my all-time favourite books. I think it's brilliant. The writing style, the atmosphere. M.L. Rio does such a great job of creating a perfect atmosphere. So I was very, very excited for Hot Wax, especially because at the heart of this is a passion for music. And I've been really, really diving into a lot of books recently about music, as you may have known if you've been watching any of my content recently. So this just fit perfectly into this. We're following our main character, who is, we're seeing her between her like present day life and then her childhood, and her relationship with her dad, who is a singer in a band, and the kind of the turmoil between the two of them and how that kind of shapes her as an adult and the kind of person that she becomes. And we're just seeing the kind of contrast of those two things, as well as getting each of those stories parallel to each other. And I thought that the way it was done was absolutely brilliant. It completely sweeps you away and captivates you and brings you in with all of these characters. You get to go on tour with the band for a little bit, so you get the atmosphere of that as well. It was so, so good. And again, the atmosphere, absolutely perfect. Emma Rio just absolutely nails that every time. But also seeing it jump between the two different time periods was really interesting, because you got to see the kind of interaction with music in two different time periods as well. And I really enjoyed the characters in this, especially those in the like present day storyline. I really liked getting to know what was happening there, because this led with a lot of questions throughout. In the modern day, present day storyline, you had so many questions that the past storyline was slowly answering, and that completely kept me intrigued and hooked throughout the whole thing. So I loved this. A book about music I absolutely also really loved was Utopia Avenue by David Mitchell. This is shot right up there to be one of my favourite books of all time already, because oh my gosh, this is so good. It's following the band Utopia Avenue, who are coming about in the late 60s, I think it is. Yes, 1967. They're coming onto the music scene, they're trying to make it big, and this is following their rise to fame, and it's following the band members specifically. We get different perspectives of different band members for some of the chapters, and it's just so brilliantly done, and oh, so captivating. It's so strange in places as well. Like, David Mitchell just adds in that brilliant weirdness into the writing, and I just love the way that that was done in this. It just adds a little bit of something different to this kind of a story as well. But even if it didn't have that like element of the weird to it, it would still be so gripping and so brilliant, because you get to just intimately follow this band and what it's like for them stepping into the public eye, and what it's like for each individual member that you get the perspectives of the chapters from as well, and what's going on in their personal lives, the history that led them towards the band. You really do just get the whole lore of the creation of this band and this creative space for them, but also you get the atmosphere of the 60s. There's so many fantastic pop culture references in this. You get to meet so many different musicians and artists and things. It's just done in such a fun way and littered with so many little moments throughout that you're like, oh my god, that's so cool to be reading that. So I absolutely loved this one so much. And like, if I could recommend anybody just one book from all of this, it's this one. I remember picking this up on a table in Waterstones years ago. I read the blurb, I put it back down. I remember doing that several times. Each time the cover drew me in, and I put it back down again, because I was like, it's not for me. Yeah, it wasn't for me then, but it is for me now. I think this is a great testament to reading the right book at the right time, and this was so the right time for this one. I Bet You'd Look Good in a Coffin by Katie Brent. This is the second book to How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. How to Kill Men and Get Away with It. So I won't tell you too much of the details of the story of this one, but in that series in general, we are following a woman who thinks it's kind of her duty to rid the world of bad men. This is a very interesting duology, because it's humorous and lighthearted in a lot of places, and then in other places incredibly sensitive and deals with topics that are so interesting and important to talk about, and really talks about the safety of women and how men treat women and the way that women treat women and the unity between that. And it's just done in such a brilliant, balanced way, because you're laughing along at one minute and then the next minute you're like, oh, this is a really important topic, but it balances it so well. I listened to this one as an audiobook as well. I think again on BookBeat, actually. I think the first one is also on BookBeat. It's so good. I just immediately want something else like this. If anyone does have any recommendations, please let me know, because it fuels the rage that I have for the patriarchal system and society that we live in, and it captures so perfectly why it's so broken and flawed. But you're seeing people doing something about it, like in an anti-hero way. We're following somebody who is a killer, but we're following them and getting to know them so well and seeing why they're doing things, and it really makes them such an interesting anti-hero to follow. So I love this series so much. Emma Cline's The Girls. I read this right at the start of the summer, and it was the perfect atmosphere. This is set in the summer, and it's following a young girl who gets involved in a cult that does some quite serious bad things. It's very intoxicating, this. The summer setting, the kind of hot, sticky vibe of it, the cult element, the hypnotic way that that's written, it has such a good atmosphere to it. Again, I love books that just nail the atmosphere as well as having a really interesting plot. And we're following I think it literally is just spanning over like a month or two, as we're following Evie, our main character, as she's becoming involved with this group of people, and she's very young, she's 14, she doesn't fully understand what she's getting involved in, but you can see this desperate need in her for this independence and to be her own person and to try all these new things. And being so young in a group of people that are doing these things in a bad way and very much taking advantage of her innocence with that as well. Really interesting book, really interesting. I don't think I've read anything like this before, and I would definitely be interested to read more things like it. Again, you have the 60s setting, so you have that atmosphere as well. I think 60s, hang on, I'm questioning. Yes, 69, just about into the 60s. So you've got that setting, that atmosphere as well, which is, I very much went through a period of time craving books like this over the start of the summer, and still am now. So this fit perfectly into that atmosphere-wise, but also just the strangeness and the intensity of having the cult element there as well. Really interesting book. Absolutely loved Andre Asselman's Room on the Sea. I really, really enjoyed The Gentleman from Peru last year. Unexpected book for me to enjoy. I kind of picked it up based on the cover initially, like the cover for this one and The Gentleman from Peru, Gentleman from Peru. We'll go with that. Both of them are really lovely, kind of postcard-esque covers. Like, that's such a pretty cover. Totally swayed me in on the first one, and then I absolutely loved that. This isn't a series, it's just, you know, within the same kind of cover design. And then this one, absolutely loved as well. This is following two people who meet during a jury assessment thing. I'm not really sure what it is that they're doing. What is it called that they're doing? I think that they're trying to see if they're needed to be on a jury for a court case. That's kind of what they're doing, but they're both waiting in this space as they're waiting to find out if they're needed on the jury or not. And they meet each other, they form a friendship, they go out for coffees with each other and walks, and it's very short, it's very fleeting, but it's about the interesting friendship and relationship that develops between them. It's done in a really beautiful and interesting way of talking about the people that come into your lives and the time they come into your lives. And I thought that for me was such an intriguing point of the plot, as well as just beautiful writing, a wonderful atmosphere. It just makes you feel like you're on a summer holiday reading it in a way. So really enjoyed this one. Of course, I have to include Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid, because this book, it destroyed me, as I think it did so many people, judging from everyone's reactions to this online. This was so good. We're following Joan, who is an astronaut at NASA. This is set over the course of 4 years, and we're getting both the present day of the book timeline, which is 1984, and then also from 1980 onwards as we get to the events that we're seeing in 1984. So we're kind of switching between the two and getting more and more like parts of the history and the context that leads towards what we know to be their present timeline in 1984. Initially, we know that there is a big threat happening in that timeline. We know that there has been an incident in space with a spacecraft. We know there's a lot of people at risk that we then get to know through the past timeline as well. So we know that there's this big threat. We keep getting little bits of that through chapters going to the present day. But mainly we're kind of getting the context of who these people are, the relationships they build with each other, the training, the studying, the process of becoming an astronaut with NASA, and getting to see Joan at the heart of all of that and the relationships that she builds up, especially one that she builds with Vanessa, who is the secondary character in this and is someone that is heavily involved in the 1984 events. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so powerfully, brilliantly written, and is a story about many different forms of love. And I love it when you get something like that. It's about romantic love, but it's also about the love of friendship. It's about the love of their jobs and what they study and what they know and becoming astronauts, and family love as well. It was so good. I was so invested. I'm not going to say any more than that, but yeah, this made me very emotional. Very, very emotional, and it's just excellent. So good. Last up on the list of books that I have been reading recently and really, really enjoying is Holly Jackson's Not Quite Dead Yet. This is Holly Jackson's debut into adult fiction. I will say it does still read quite YA-esque, but I think that it needed to be adult because the characters needed to be adults to do the things they're doing in the plot of this book. But it definitely still reads quite YA, but I don't think that hinders the experience of reading it at all. It's a great fun thriller book, and I think that's what Holly Jackson writes so well, and I really enjoy Holly Jackson's YA thrillers as well, so I had a great time with this one. It's another just very fun, very addictive type of thriller. This is following Jet, who is violently attacked and given a head injury that is basically going to give her 7 days left to live, and she wants to use that 7 days to try and find her killer. The high stakes in this, the stress, knowing that she has this 7 days, like her mental state as well is really interesting to read about, and how that's affecting her and what she's choosing to do with her time. It was really interesting from that perspective, and I think really well done from that perspective as well, seeing her processing it in different ways and the people around her processing it in different ways, but also just from like the thrillery mystery element of trying to find the killer. So addictive, because you know she's got this ticking clock, she's got this time bomb in her head, quite literally, and it's just so tense seeing the pressure of her trying to work everything out, and as a reader not having any direct clue which direction it was going to go. I kind of thought halfway through, I feel like I know where this is going, but then it just kept me guessing again and again and again, and I was second guessing myself and I didn't know what I was thinking. So I love it when I am equally as confused as all the characters are as well in the book. I think it just makes it even more fun. So I had a good time with this one as well. It was highly addictive. It was quite emotional as well, and it gave me goosebumps so many times. It gave me all the feels. It was a good time. Well, it was a tense, emotional time, but it was a fun reading time. That is all the books that I have read recently and really, really enjoyed. I have obviously read other books as well, but those are the ones that I wanted to highlight and talk to you about. Let me know in the comments which books you have been enjoying over the last few months. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I will see you in the next one.